The moon is at her feet. So what just happened here? What John is seeing is the birth and how this is going to come about as the Messiah. This is historic. But as he moved forward, he talks about him being caught up to the Most High resurrection. But we still on birth. When does this happen? Your calendar, as we know it today, is 4 years off. The Gregorian calendar. This is why when you hear dates for the birth of Christ, you'll hear dates like 4 BC, 6 BC, and somebody is saying if BC means before Christ, how he get a negative birthday? Why it ain't 0 BC or whatever? Well, that's because the Gregorian calendar is 4 years off. So Jesus was more than likely born anytime between 4 BC and what you would consider 0 AD BC or what, but them 4 years right there. Listen, the last time this constellation was seen, woman clothed with the sun, moon at her feet, dragon ready to devour the baby, 12 known stars around her head that the ancients could see. Let me make this point. When you see the sky, you're not seeing what they saw because you got cities in ambient light. But if you go out to the places where there is no civilization, the darker it is, the better you can see the clock. Our modern day perspective, we have lost track of even time. You can't see what they saw, so you can't interpret the way they interpret. You gotta go get some specialized stuff. Now watch this, the last time that constellation was seen, y'all, in an 80-minute window, 3 BC, September the 11th, is the last time we seen that. Now you could take it for what it's worth, and you can say, well, I don't think it was it. That's fine. But my job is to show you God's clock, what God said, and you draw your own conclusion. If God said, I put it what's above, for you to understand what's gonna happen and has happened below, I'll believe it. If God says, Job, do you understand the Mazzaroth? Have you studied the Pleiades? I'm gonna say, well, okay, it must be okay to look at these because God is asking Job, has he done that? So I ain't got no problem with the Mazzaroth because God don't have no problem with it. My problem is when you try to pervert and make the Mazzaroth something the Most High did not make it. That's the issue. And as you go a little further, we have to ask ourselves by looking at the truth if whether or not we have settled this in our spirit and decided to follow God no matter what. This woman clothed with the sun, and this only happens in an 80-minute window in time. So December 21st, or what happened then? I wasn't going to say that, but it kind of slipped out my mouth, so I feel like that's the spirit letting me know, say something about December 21st. What's December 21st? And where did we get 3 kings and these numbers? Well, that's easy. The constellation Orion. Y'all all right? Yeah. Chill out. Y'all gonna have a good Christmas. Orion, most prominent constellation in the sky. It's 3 stars more prominent. 3 stars that are prominent are considered Orion's belt. Those 3 stars are mimicked by the pyramids in Egypt. That's why you see the 3. Okay, so what is going on here? Well, on December 21st, also at that time, is what you call the winter solstice. And on the winter solstice, these 3 in Orion, the way that he is turned in the sky, these 3 stars line up. And these 3 stars also point, when you follow a straight line, they point to a certain place on the horizon. You could see these 3 stars rising up before the sun comes up. And what the ancients knew is when those 3 stars and where those 3 stars were pointing them, that's the spot that the sun was going to rise on their horizon. There would be 1, 2, 3, and if you were to take it down to the horizon, they knew where the sun was going to rise. So what was said, the story is that the three kings are going to where the sun is. The three kings are the three stars. Why is it a king constellation? I'm just giving y'all stuff for you to study. There's a star called Regulus. In the Latin, Regulus means king. We have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him who is born king of the Jews. So this whole thing happening, this whole 80 minutes, all of these things are present. When? When is the regular star present? When is all of that happen? 1 year, 3 BC, September the 11th. As I close, remember what I've been telling you about the enemy. Remember what I've been telling you about taking something God gave, demonizing it, and now we look at it as evil because we don't understand it. Stop being afraid of what you don't understand and elevate your mind and let the Most High weed all the junk out, because when you elevate your mind, He gonna guide you. So when we are looking at this constellation, y'all, when we are looking at this truth, stop letting the enemy lie to you about what the Most High gave to you in knowledge. Some of y'all have listened to the enemy in your relationships. Some of you listen to the enemy on your job, and you got things and ideas and stuff that you know is good, but he's telling you it's no good. You better go ahead and live your best life that the Most High is giving you by knowing the truth. Yes, you can celebrate, you can do whatever you want to do, but what is liberating? Jesus said you will know and what's going to set you free? This is why I'm free to say what needs to be said, because what I have said is proven by the knowledge of the scripture, and I ain't have to take nothing back. Why? Because I didn't make it up. When the Most High gives you the knowledge, then we can act on it. If you here today and you might be saying, see, I just want truth. If you want truth, it will liberate you. What is this truth? That you have to come back to the manufacturer if you really want to operate as a human like you should operate. Your issues are solved in this sense. When you subscribe to the manufacturer's plan and what's real, and stop letting the enemy feed you lies. What kind of lies? Simple lies, spiritual lies, all lies. Good hair, bad hair, what's that? That's a lie. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all say, wait, good hair, bad, that's a lie. I know who told you that, but you need to let that go. That's your preference. You got a preference for something, and you got something else you don't like, neither good nor bad. Last time I checked, the only thing good is God. That's good. But everything else is a choice. But if you understand, I need to get my life, your life, on track, that's when you're coming back to the manufacturer. You're learning things like this, and you getting it straight, because the only way you're going to also know the difference between good and evil is to have your mind full of what's right by the word. He tells us that even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. That's Hebrews 4, about verse 12. You can't even know what's good and what's bad if you ain't studied. So how dare we simply look up there, see these clear sky patterns? They there. They are there. If you don't believe me, they there. Just wait a few hours when it gets dark and call me up and I'll show you where. All right, I'll show it to you. When we start accepting the lie, we will roll on and never be able to recognize the truth. This is when the truth is considered a lie. And the lie has become the truth. And what's the truth? My people perish. Lack of knowledge. Everybody coming in on Sunday to jump around. We'll get there. But if you are celebrating and you ain't got knowledge in your head, you don't understand why you glad, there's another name for that. It's hysteria. I'm not even playing. That's what it's called. You sitting up here rejoicing, and then you leave and you don't know why. It just felt good. It just sounded good. Because you know what I can do? I can turn on Big Sean in my car and feel good. I can turn on Kendrick and feel good. It's got to be deeper than that. It's got to be deeper than that. Some of y'all messed up because y'all didn't know I listened to Sean and Kendrick yesterday. It's all right. Y'all still listen to, Luca and Keith Sweat. And he can't even sing. Just got good lyrics, but he can't sing. But anyway, back to Merry Christmas time. I ain't got time. Maybe I do another part on where these dates and all these other gods and all this other stuff come from on the 25th. The sun don't move on the horizon on 21st. It don't move on the 22nd. It stays still on the horizon for 3 days. And they said the sun is dead. It died for 3 days. Sound familiar? Wow. And on the third day, the sun moved. They said, the sun has resurrected new life. The cycle keeps going. Where we going? We're going into the springtime where life comes. So is it Ishtar? No, it's the Most High. Fertility. See, y'all, you can do what you need to do. You can be free, but you better know what you're doing. And stop lying to your kids. I know we have fun, but no, seriously, real talk. Psychologically, let me imply. I know y'all don't like this kind of preaching, but I gotta get it out. It is psychologically damaging. That's true. Okay? To teach your kids that a Caucasian man comes down a chimney you ain't got, while everybody sleep, and put presents that mama and daddy can't afford. Listen, y'all, what's happening here? Jesus said, believe you have received already. You know what that belief requires? That you be rooted in his truth, his reality. And when you know that and you believe that you have received already, you ain't looking to no outside force. I'm not looking to nobody else to do for Taylor but Taylor, and then God gonna help Taylor do what Taylor need to do for Taylor's self. So it's not a selfish thing. It's me using what the Most High gave me. Last time I checked, y'all, watch this. If you a Christian, God ain't simply the man in the sky. He's supposed to be the man in you. Let us stand as we sing this invitational song.